Let's go ahead and get to the ACC now. I saw a lot of comments flowing in calling for that, so we will do that for you guys. At number 14, we have Pittsburgh. Not that hot of a class for them, so they do have 14 players committed, but all zeros in that left column over there, guys. Are there any 3 stars that you're excited about, or is this just kind of an
yeah, sure.
class for them?
So Blake Zubovic, their 3-star offensive tackle, he's a guy who can play either tackle spot in college. I watched his film. He's explosive off the ball. This is the guy that I think they're most excited about, but he's not going to be an instant impact player. There's a reason he's a 3-star tackle and not a 4 or a 5. Not many major college programs are recruiting him, but I think if anybody you're going to look at, he's the kind of guy who you want to kind of hang your hat on with this recruiting class. But with only 14 players in here, Lena, this is a bad class for them. Yeah,
not so hot. We're going to keep on powering through these lower teams here in the ACC. Up next, we have Duke. They're coming in at number 13. They do have one 4-star recruit, guys, and that is the strong side defensive end, Taj Rice. What can you tell me about him?
Well, I think that for the most part, this Duke defense is going to continue to grow. I think that them being able to keep their head coach and basically almost their entire coaching staff in-house is going to be really, really good for that program. Taj Rice is going to be a quality player for them. Gunnar Holmberg coming in for that school is also going to be really good.
I know that's one guy you're excited about, James.
I mean, I just love the name. If your name is Gunnar, you are a quarterback guarantee. It's like Jeeves and being a butler, right? So great pocket passer, great pickup for them. Only a 3-star guy. I think watching this film, though, he screams 4-star to me. He's going to be an impact player for them long term.
All right, up next we have Boston College. They do have one 4-star recruit, and that is a guard in Finn Durstein.
And guess what? They brought him in. They are so happy to bring in a guard of his caliber because guess what he gets to do for the next 2 years? Block for A.J. Dillon. And that is all they are going to be looking for. One of the best run blocking guards that they have in high school so far. He's going to be a great recruit for them.
All right, chugging along here at number 11, we have Wake Forest. All zeros once again in that left column. 21 players committed. Not much to say here. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to number 10, guys.
All right.
And this is a team I was honestly had to go back and double check to make sure we didn't have it wrong. Florida State coming in at number 10. Now, they do have just 9 players committed, a bunch of 4-star recruits, but we do expect this to change with the addition of Willie Taggart at head coach. They will be moving up most likely in the rankings. What can you guys tell me about who they have on this list?
I mean, the name that sticks out to you right there is Asante Samuel Jr., the son of Asante Samuel. And fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, he is exactly like his father. Dude is an absolute ball hawk in the secondary and also is not afraid to come up and make big plays in the run game. He's going to be a fantastic fit for that defense. I think he's actually going to end up being a great college player, maybe even a great pro if he continues to go on there. But the real question is, you know, this Florida State class obviously impacted by Jimbo Fisher leaving.
Right.
What will Willie Taggart be able to do in a very short amount of time to maybe salvage this class somehow? Because 10th in the ACC for Florida State, coming off one of their worst seasons in recent memory, they got to do some fixing up.
I mean, we saw how good Willie Taggart recruited 1 year at Oregon. I think he's going to come in here, make a big impact. But Jimbo Fisher kind of had his eyes somewhere else. It doesn't seem like he's doing a very good job. They had their worst on season on the field with him in a long time this year, and then their worst recruiting class in decades coming up here at Florida State number 2. Taggart's got a lot of work to do in the next 6 weeks.
Do you guys think that those lower class facilities are hurting the Seminoles right now in rankings?
I think it had to be the coaching change. It has to be the fact that Jimbo Fisher, he wasn't involved in coaching rumors at the start of the year, but towards the end of the year, I mean, if you're a guy who's thinking about going to Florida State, why would you go to Florida State? Why not go to Miami, who'd just been on the national stage all year long, been doing great stuff? And there's a reason why Miami's one of the top teams we have in our ACC recruit rankings. So not a huge surprise, but man, they got to pick it up with Willie Taggart.
All right, at number 9 in the ACC, we have the Virginia Cavaliers. You guys, what can you tell me about them?
Well, hey, Virginia Cavaliers coming in with 3-star dual quarterback Brennan Armstrong. He was a commit for the Minnesota Gophers. Kind of a sad loss for PJ Fleck in that clan, but you know, Virginia is always going to be a decent enough tough out in the ACC. I think this recruiting class is kind of along what we usually see with Virginia.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, moving on, we have Georgia Tech at number 8. 17 players committed to go there. One 4-star recruit and athlete, Jalen King.
I mean, Jalen King is a top 350 player overall. He's coming in as an athlete, right? And so he can either play offense, defense. I think we'll ultimately see him at wide receiver from the film I've seen. Elusive with the ball in his hands. He's going to be a good player. You know, coming out of the state of Tennessee, going down to Georgia Tech, you know, he likes his academics. That's what I can tell you, though. That's for sure. So good class out of them, but not much higher than 8.
All right, number 7, we have Syracuse. They do have one 4-star recruit and center Tyrone Sampson Jr., but one guy that we're keeping an eye on over here is wide receiver Edward Hendricks. Great name.
As good as Edward Hendricks is, and I think he's going to make a decent impact, I'm actually kind of disappointed to see Syracuse so low. You would think that after a couple years of Dino Babers, who's a decent enough recruiter, that they would be a little bit higher and be able to gather a little bit much, but I think it kind of goes back to what James continues to bring up. You know, Syracuse stuck you want to talk about tucked away all the way up there in the northern part of New York. It's just tough for them to recruit high-quality football players to get there. Dino Babers has a lot of work in front of him to get this program where he wants it to be.
Just a reminder, we are breaking down the best 2018 recruiting classes by conference, and we're letting you guys, the audience, pick the show. So who do you want up next? Give me a thumbs up for the Big 12. Show me some love for the SEC. We are continuing on in the ACC right now. We're going to bring it to number 6, and that is the North Carolina Tar Heels, and they have 16 players committed, 4 4-star recruits, which is fantastic, and 1 guy in the top 100, Harris.
And he's the great thing that you have to know about Jordan Adams, their 4-star wide receiver. Boy, is this guy fast, and boy, does this guy have great hands. I think he's going to be a really good wide receiver for them to build around on the offensive side of the ball. They have a lot of work to do. Remember, this is a North Carolina football program that is honestly usually better than not, and I think that they are going to need to grow everything a little bit more.
All right, let's move on to number 5. We have Louisville. They have 21 players committed. No 5-star recruits, guys, and I was kind of surprised to see that 0 in that column.
I mean, I'm not. If you're a recruit looking at Louisville and you're about to see that they're going to lose their best player by a considerable margin in Lamar Jackson, most likely to the draft, you're going to think twice about going to Louisville.
Yeah, and so Emmanuel Allen is the guy that I'm really excited about. He's from the state of California, coming to Louisville. That doesn't happen a lot. Was committed to Nebraska prior. Mike Riley kind of being on the hot seat. He decommitted them right before the season started in August, flipped over to Louisville. He's solid with them, so he's going to be an instant impact guy, especially in that offense that they run.
All right, keep on throwing up your votes. We're going to move it to number 4 now, and that's NC State. Now, NC State does have one guy we're taking a look at. That's 4-star running back Ricky Pearson. Are you guys excited to see him play?
I think he's going to be a pretty good guy inside of the ACC. We've seen a lot of running backs be able to play a little bit above their pay grade inside of the ACC in terms of the running back position. I think he's going to make a great impact on the NC State team. We've seen that team, you know, with their head coach, they've been able to actually make a decent enough impact in the ACC and are now actually going to probably be one of the top 5 teams in that conference going forward. I think he's going to be an excellent addition to that offense.
All right, at number 3, we have the Hokies. Now, they have 23 players committed to play in 2018, 4 4-star recruits, couple guys in the top 1 and 300. One guy I'm excited to look at is Trey Turner. Now, he looks fantastic.
They had one job going into this recruiting season. We have our quarterback. We have Josh Jackson. The guy's an absolute stud. Let's build around him on offense, and let's start to get him some weapons. Trey Turner is exactly the kind of guy that they need on offense to help take them to the next level. Give him a year. I think that his freshman year is going to be a little bit lower par, but I think by his second year, he's going to be a good wide receiver.
Quarterback Quincy Patterson from the state of Illinois, coming down to Virginia Tech, really blew up this summer. He went out to the opening in Oregon at Nike and kind of took it to the top quarterbacks in the country, saw his ranking really increase. He's a big pickup for them.
All right, these last 2 teams are going to be really fun to talk about. So at number 2, we have the Clemson Tigers, currently ranked number 1 in the nation just for playoff purposes, but also have a great recruiting class coming in 2018, 12 players committed, 2 5-star, 5 4-star. It's looking good for the Tigers.
And it begins with Trevor Lawrence. If you like pro-style quarterbacks, then Trevor Lawrence is your guy. If you like dual-threat quarterbacks, then Justin Fields is your guy. I personally like pro-style quarterbacks, and Trevor Lawrence might be one of the best high school quarterback recruits that we have seen in years. He has an incredible arm. He moves around the pocket like Aaron Rodgers. Watch some of his highlights here. The dude is absolutely spectacular. He has the arm. He's got the legs. And by the way, he also has the hair. The dude has some pretty fantastic locks going on as well.
He's got flow.
That's phenomenal hair. Another player, you know, Xavier Thomas from IMG Academy. That's what they have 20 or so of the top 200 players in the country. That's what they do. They're the new football powerhouse to get guys from all over the country to come down there. Xavier Thomas here is a force on the defensive end.
Yeah.
They've got 4 draft picks there in Clemson right now. They lose any of them. They've got guys coming in left and right. Xavier Thomas is going to start there next year.
And also, mind you, this is now a Clemson defensive line who, you know, we were talking about the Ohio State defensive line with Greg Schiano. Clemson might be just as good, if not better. They are starting to pump out some serious talent. They're losing Austin Bryant to the draft this year, along with Christian Wilkins as well, and Dexter Lawrence. I think Xavier Thomas is going to slide right in on that defensive line. Might be a day 1 starter for the Clemson Tigers. They're going to be just fine.
All right, guys, we're starting to wrap up the ACC, so keep on throwing in those votes. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs being thrown up, so I have a feeling we might hit the Big 12 yet, but if you want to see the SEC, keep on throwing up that heart. All right, at the top of the ACC, we have the Miami Hurricanes. Now, this is a loaded list, guys. 21 players committed, 1 5-star, but 14 four-star recruits, a bunch of guys in the top 100. This Hurricanes team is really trying to make themselves a force to be reckoned with.
And I think there are three factors at play here. A, the decent, no, I don't want to say downfall, but I guess the lessening of the Florida football program in terms of switching coaches and the fact that the team hasn't been too good the past couple years. And then on top of that, the same thing with Florida State and the addition of Mark Richt. I mean, we got Al Blades Jr. coming in, the son of former Miami great Al Blades from those great Miami teams way back when. But I think the guy you got to look at is Lorenzo Lingard, a running back from Southern Florida who a lot of different people, they didn't really know where he was going to go in terms of which school in Florida. They knew he was going to stay in state. This dude is an absolute home run hitter. He's going to be an instant impact for that offense. To be totally honest, they need a lot of help on the offensive side of the ball. And I think he's going to be the perfect addition for them. Again, look at this. Miami, in a matter of a year or two, has gone from a lesser tier recruiting class to the #1 recruiting class in the ACC over Clemson. That's absolutely incredible coming from Mark Richt and that staff.